Hello, my name is Indy. I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I apologize. I look like hell. I haven't slept in a few days. It's funny, you start putting up videos. All of a sudden, all your old friends, they could care less if you're dead or alive or phoning because they need to talk to you. Need to talk to you. I wonder what that's about. Oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. I was thinking about doctors, and remembering as a kid, their doctors were evil, because they push blood and la di da di da. I remember all the different services we had about placing our faith in Jehovah, not in physicians and this, that, and the other thing. But it's funny when you're sick and not feeling well. I didn't see any brother or sister that wasn't running to the doctor when things weren't going well. You know, the only thing that was a major concern in my day was blood transfusions. That was a big deal all the time. When I was a kid, I used to get tonsillitis every fall, guaranteed. I got sicker than a dog. My tonsils would be swollen, and the doctor would be wanting to take him out, that evil bastard. Every time he just had to take him out. We have to take him out. Well, he can't have a blood transfusion, so we can't let you take his tonsils out. So come spring, I'd be sicker than a dog again. Tonsils all swole up, and just felt like I was gonna die. But nope, can't take him out because you might need a blood transfusion. We just can't do it. Remember, my whole childhood was spent being sicker than a dog because of tonsillitis. Every fall, every spring, sicker than a dog. Oh well, I guess I'm still alive today. I remember we had this Jehovah's Witness elder from Kelowna congregation. It's a city a couple hours away. And he shows up, and he's a doctor, but he's a naturopath. Some Jehovah approved doctor, I guess. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses from all over British Columbia going to see him in Kelowna. And I remember when we went to see him, my parents were all into it because he was a Jehovah's Witness, and the brothers wouldn't, he wouldn't be an elder if he was a bad guy, right, or doing something wrong. I remember when we got there, he grabs my wrist and he starts counting and tapping on my wrist and click, 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 click. He's making this weird sound with his mouth. And his wife's standing there and she's tapping her pen and writing, tapping her pen and writing. They're into some weird freaking naturopathic, spiritual something or other medicine. I remember when we left there, like the entire family ends up, getting diagnosed for God knows what. But we leave there and we got a cardboard box full of all these different supplements that were missing out of our bodies, and our systems were out of whack and la di da di da. And his wife was going on about our spiritual force, our the not aroma, but the aura coming off you. Every time she's talking about that, I kept thinking aroma. Must have been a new word I learned around then. But she kept talking about auras, and it just all felt so wacky. But my parents seemed okay with it. We go home and we got these giant freaking pills we gotta swallow of this, that, and the other thing. With every meal, you gotta chuck this crap in. It was just a racket. This guy was making a whack off of JWs. You're too stupid to realize that, this was a racket. Feeding him a pile of vitamins, and could have been horse shit for all they knew. They're just throwing it back in because he was a Jehovah's Witness. But don't trust the guy that's trying to save your life that went to school for freaking 8 years or 12 years or whatever the hell. Doesn't matter what kind of specialist he is. If the guy mentions blood, he's evil. He's great Satan, right? This really ended up messing me up. I just hated doctors, because you can't trust them. And after I left the faith, I didn't want to go to doctors because, all my experience with them up to that point as a child had just been so messed up. I didn't trust doctors at all. I didn't trust them any more than I trusted any religious leaders. To me, they're all a part of great Satan with the programming in my head. I guess Jehovah's Witnesses for years were, back in the early 1900s, they were against smallpox vaccine because it was just pus and blood and it was going to make you sick. Jehovah's Witnesses used to teach that there was no evidence that germs or bacteria caused people to get sick. Aspirin caused heart attacks. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses used to say. So no wonder we get such a messed up experience when it comes to doctors. After I left, I just wouldn't go to them. I broke a bone, I got cut up in a fight, whatever. I stitched myself up, I'd splint myself up. I just wouldn't go to doctors because I didn't like them. I was helping a buddy set up a bar up north, and got it all ready to go on his grand opening night. And the one guy doesn't show up that we hired to work on the door, and he calls me. He says, "Can you come down and give me a hand?" The guy you hired to work on the door didn't show up. So I show up, and I spent a few hours there, but Buddy did end up showing up. And I figured since I was there, I'd stick around and see how things were going. Well, this guy ends up right at the beginning of the night, around 8 o'clock. He comes in, him and his wife, girlfriend, whatever it was. He ends up beating on her, and bad thing to do around me. I grabbed him, I kicked, I beat him up a little bit, and I threw him up. It was around midnight, hours later. My girlfriend at the time shows up, and my buddy that owns the bar and the manager and a few of us are sitting around having a few beer. The place was packed. It was really going. And my old lady wants to leave. She wants to go, la-di-da-di-da. So I said, all right, I got to go. So we go out the back door of the club, and I hear this ch. And the guy that I'd tossed earlier, at the beginning of the night, he was waiting around back there for me all night, and it was freaking cold out. I'm surprised he didn't freeze to death. That ch I heard was the bottle break. Next thing I know, he stuffed it in my throat. I just went ballistic. Well, that doesn't matter. By the time they got me up to the hospital, because when the ambulance showed up, they had to take care of him first because, he was unconscious. I was still awake. And I was bleeding bad, right? Right in the throat. So they're taking care of him, and everybody's freaking out. They get me in the truck, and my buddy's driving. His old lady's trying to hold my throat shut. They got my head pulled down. They drive me up to the hospital, and we had a police escort up there. We're racing because the ambulance guys were busy with the guy that did this to me. I'd really messed him up. But we get up there, and wouldn't you believe it? And this is just ridiculous. I don't know. It's all that programming. I get up there, and the only thing that they can understand, the doctors and nurses, was Jehovah and no blood. For some reason, that was one thing that was stuck in my head. I wouldn't take blood. That was pretty much what they got out of it, right? Jehovah, no blood. Jehovah, no blood. That was pretty much it. I remember on the way up there, I couldn't talk anymore. Like, your tongue gets thick when you lose a lot of blood. I guess it nicked my jugular, and my boot was full of blood. I'd lost that much blood. But, man, I almost died because of that programming. Oh, unbelievable, the stuff they put into our heads, right? And it comes out at the worst possible time. The worst possible time. Jehovah, no blood. Jehovah, no blood. I've thought about this so many times, and I've told this story a few times with buddies. We've talked about stupid stuff that happened in the past. All that programming. And then when I start researching on the Jehovah's Witnesses and their stance on, anything to do in the medical field, they were, back in the early 1900s, mid-1900s, or more early. To them, the American Medical Association was, no better than the Catholic Church. They're part of Satan's big freaking conspiracy or whatever. And they said all kinds of nasty things about them. Don't trust doctors is what they've been programming forever. I can't believe we listen to this garbage. But brainwashing. They know what they're doing. And all the poor members that are stuck in there. Today apparently they can have a blood transfusion if they're good with it. It's up to their own conscience, I guess. They make excuses like blood particle or whatever. Well, in the 1961 book on blood there, written by the Jehovah's Witnesses, they said not even parts of blood. They couldn't even use parts of blood. Well, everything just seems to change around there. Whenever the wind blows a different direction, they're changing their idea on this, that, and the other thing. But the clowns don't know what they're doing. I guess the congregation, every congregation that I've had any contact with in the last decade, the numbers have really been declining, but coming up in the immigrant fields, now they seem to get the people as they get off the boats or the airplanes or whatever, hit them with their love bombing at the airport or something, because that seems to be their only place they're gaining. Now I'm rattling on. I just thought I'd check in with you guys because I haven't made a video in a couple of days, and I know I look like hell. I apologize. And I apologize for a video I put up the other day. I had some Elder Evans who was on here saying stuff. Apparently they don't like my new name for my videos, and I got angry and I put up a video. I apologize for putting that video up. I was pretty angry. I don't like being that guy anymore, but he really set me off. I apologize for that. I wish you all a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful year. I love you all. And for any active members, please wake up.